Welcome to the home of British motorsport. Welcome to Silverstone for the British Grand Prix, the 50th time we've been here at Silverstone since the OC began. It's the 5th of 8 circuits that have appeared on the OC calendar every season, 5th of 10 circuits on the GP4 OC calendar that featured on the revised 2020 F1 calendar in real life. Circuit, of course, located in two different counties in Northamptonshire and Buckinghamshire. Ferrari have been superior in Britain over the past 15 seasons, winning 5 times. So it'll be interesting to see if they can make it a 6th, although it might be difficult for them to do it this season. But we've seen Jake Galloway win in his debut season, so who knows what could happen here at Silverstone. The lap record set last year by Franco Lopez of 126.937. He, of course, was the winner of the last round of the championship, the Austrian Grand Prix, at the Red Bull Ring. Previous 5 winners here have included Joseph Willows, Brian Volker, Pascal Moulin. We've had 5 different winners in the last 5 years. Could there be another one this season? Is going to be the big question. Could we have Armand Carr? Could we have a Red Bull driver? Who is it going to be? Or could, of course, Franco Lopez win once again here at Silverstone? The tyres used for this will be the hard tyres. And so now we're going to take a look at the free practice results. And it was once again a Mercedes 1-2. Head of Miguel third, good performance by Q-Poc, then Laura Chung, Willows, Sontag, Griffiths, Perrinin and Gamba. So Williams surprisingly very fast as well in practice. But that, of course, was practice, and this was the starting grid for the British Grand Prix. And it was Franco Lopez in the wet conditions who absolutely decimated the entire field, with Miguel Gal taking an impressive second for Red Bull. But on the second row, the 2 Ferraris, great performance by both of them. Laura Chung in 3rd and Roberto Gamba in 4th position. On row 3 we have Franco Gamba for Red Bull and Armand Carr 6th for Mercedes. And on row 4 of the grid we have David Q-Poc for AlphaTauri and Gabriel Gomez, his best qualifying of the season, in 8th. On row 5 of the grid we have Evan Byrne for Renault and Kirosa De Rosa 10th for McLaren. So good job by both those two. On the 6th row we have the 2 RPs, Racing Point Mercedes of George Roque and Roland Moichin. So that is that row 6 of the grid. Row 7 we have Jake Galloway for Renault and Joseph Willows for McLaren. Row 8 we have Chris Chatfield for AlphaTauri and Felix Sontag for Williams. So again very close between those two. On the 9th row of the grid we have Jimmy Griffiths for Williams and Rosetta Martinez 18th for Manor. Row 10 we have Amelia Wilson for Manor and Andrea Federi for Alfa Romeo, not the qualifying that they would have wanted. And on the final row of the grid we have Dudu Kirby for Haas and Daniel Fraser, who had a 5-place grid penalty from last time out in Austria. So that is the grid for the Grand Prix. And in the OC news this week is that Dudu Kirby will not be returning to the top tier at the end next season. He'll be retiring. RP will be rebranded to Aston Martin. Renault will rebrand to Alpine, or will not rebrand to Alpine, sorry. McLaren will remain with Renault. Lamborghini will become the 5th engine manufacturer in 2021 as well. So a whole host of different news this week. And what is not different about this week is that it is still dry. So this is 11 races in, and we've not yet had a wet race. We've had it in qualifying, but not in the race yet. So 52 laps around Silverstone. Could a British driver win here at the British Grand Prix, as the 5 lights are now coming on here at Silverstone? The 5 lights are now on, and we're underway, and it looks like Lopez has made a pretty good launch, and he's already got well away from Gal off the line. Could Gal be overtaken by one of the Ferraris? This could be close. I mean, look at the gap he's got already, and look at the Ferrari coming around the outside. I think that's Laura Chung up into 2nd place. A great start that she has made. And so she is up into 2nd. Roberto Gamba, meanwhile, I think has dropped a couple of places. He's not made a good start. But for Lopez, it's the perfect start that he wanted. As Gal, there's Franco Gamba. So yeah, poor old Roberto Gamba's made an awful start. He's dropped down to 7th place. So not the start he would have wanted. Meanwhile, Gal at the slipstream of Chung already, heading up, coming into the next corner, and he can't quite do it at the end of the back straight there, as they're now coming onto the old pit straight, as Gal is right behind Laura Chung. And now they're coming through the fast right handle, this one, and then coming up into the next corner. Nicholas Gal heading up on the inside. Can he make the move already for 2nd place? Can he get it back? And the answer is yes, straight away. And Miguel Carr, I think, was attacking Franco Gamba behind him, but couldn't quite make the move stick. So Laura Chung, after the great start that she had, drops down to 3rd, although she does have a fair amount of fuel. But for Lopez, it was to be good news if all these guys are battling with each other, of course. So for Lopez, it would be good for him. Meanwhile, Chung might even try to get back, so we've got a yellow flag out, and there's Jake Galloway is out. He is out of this race, and he's had a crash that is coming into Magnussen Beckers, and Joseph Willows is out as well. So there has been an incident on the first lap between two British drivers, unfortunately, coming in towards Maggots and Beckett's. So we're going to find out what happened between those two, but that's not what the British fans would have liked to see, as Lopez, no surprise, sets the fastest lap. So the car's now being pushed away. They're both out. So this was Galloway coming through Copse, and there was a battle going on in front, I think, which held up everybody. And so Galloway was behind Willows here, behind the racing point, and Galloway tried to get on the inside, and it actually had passed. Oh dear! It actually got past Willows, and Willows almost just turned into him, it looked like. But that was a pretty weird, strange incident. And yeah, Willows just almost came right back into Galloway for no reason, to be honest, because Galloway had completed the move, and unfortunately, I think Willows is going to get a punishment for that. So he's behind Moitian. And then, of course, has Galloway coming around the outside and just turns into Galloway, almost purposely. I'm not going to say he did try it on purpose, but that's what it looked like. The incident between those two will be under investigation, but I'd be surprised if Willows doesn't get a penalty for that, because that was a pretty clumsy move from him. Meanwhile, we're looking at Andrea Federi on the first lap, and oh, he makes contact with the Williams there and damages his front wings, so not the start that he would have wanted at all. Meanwhile, Laura Chung already under pressure from Franco Gamba on the inside as they're heading into the left-hander of Brooklands, then heading through Luffield, and he of course has managed to make it stick. And so, but now Laura Chung is going to be under pressure from Armakar as they're heading up towards Copse, coming through Woodcote, and Chung, after that great start, unfortunately, might be back to reality for Ferrari, and it's not going to be 6 wins, it looks like, today, as Carr now goes past, so Chung down to 5th position, and she could even be under pressure from David Kupok behind if she's not careful, as they're coming up to the yellow flag zone, where they're still, of course, removing the cars of Galloway and Willows. As there's, you can see on the graphic, Roke moving past Evan Byrne into 9th position. And look at the run that Kupok's got coming off of Maggots and Beckett's. He's going to try and go around the outside of Chung, it looks like. Will he do it around the outside of Chung? Coming into Stowe, and the answer is no, not quite, but that was still a good attempt. But meanwhile, they've got the McLaren behind a De Rossa, as there's Galloway's car being still being pushed away. But of course De Ross is coming into this battle as well. Oh no! And there's contact, and 2 more cars are out. Roberto Gamba and Evan Byrne. And I think Gamba may have made a little mistake as well, which unfortunately meant that Byrne ran into him there, because Gamba seemed to be going quite gingerly coming into the last couple of corners there. So we're going to see a replay of that to see what happened. But coming through Vale, as Byrne's car is also out as well. So that's 2 more cars out in 3 laps. So Byrne actually had, I think, just passed, it looked like, Byrne coming out the corner, and yeah, made a little bit of a lock up there, and then got hit from behind by Evan Byrne. So that is both of those 2 out of the race. And oh no, it wasn't actually. It wasn't Byrne on the outside originally. It was actually the racing point there of Roke, and there was so nearly contact between the 2. So Roke got overtaken by both those 2, but then he's going to get positions straight back. So yes, that's quite unfortunate there for those 2 drivers. So again, Rotterdam made a little mistake, and Byrne probably didn't expect it, and they caught wheels, and so they're both out. So I imagine that will be put down as a racing incident. Of course, that will be under investigation by the stewards, so we'll see what they have to say about that. But I don't see them getting a punishment. Meanwhile, David Kupok is all over the back of Chung. This is for P5, and he's through past Laura Chung, and now Chung will be under pressure possibly from De Rossa behind. In 8 places, Roke Chaffers made up quite a few places at the start as well. Meanwhile, the 2 Red Bulls and the Mercedes are battling. This is for 2nd place. A car trying to get past here. Both Red Bulls. He might even get past one here. Car on the inside, and he's through past the Red Bull there of Franco Gamba, who was trying to get past his teammate Gowan. Unfortunately, that's not worked out well for Gamba. Now, Car will try and obviously get past the other Red Bull, as Gamba went way too wide coming into Stowe. And again, how they didn't make contact there, I don't know. That was unbelievably close. We've seen so many incidents at Stowe over the years, not just, of course, the top tier, in all tiers that have been racing there. It just seems to always be that corner. But the more they battle, the more that's going to allow Lopez to get away up front. And meanwhile, De Rossa has now passed Laura Chung for 6th place. So Chung, unfortunately, is just catapulting down the order. And so now, as we're looking at Carr, is under pressure from Franco Gamba. He's going to try to get position back. He's going to go on the inside of Carr, coming into Stowe. He's on the inside, and he is through. Is he? Yes. No, he's very close side by side, and yes, Carr gets re-overtaken by Franco Gamba there. Good battle between these guys. But as I said, it's good news, even better news for Lopez up front, who's going to continue to get away. As we see, obviously, Chung now behind De Rossa, and possibly even George Rope might get involved, as here's Dudu Kirby on the inside trying to make up positions. Of course, Kirby trying to do his best in his first and only season in the OC. Now we know that he's going to be retiring at the end of the season, but at least he'll have retired knowing that he'll got 1 season in the top tier. And and a little mistake there from Martinez, who was just about on the back of this battle, and so he's going to lose a lot of time there. So he was behind the special liveried Williams of Felix Sontag, and then just coming through there makes a little mistake and has lost all that momentum. Now he's going to have to chase him back down. So that was coming through Vale through Club there. So meanwhile, Gao in second place. The gap to Lopez is only about 5 seconds actually. It's not huge. The gap out front. Meanwhile, George Roque is in the pits, and so is David Kupok. But they've both got plenty of fuel. So I think Roque's missing a front wing, and yes, he is. So I think it looks like these two may have had a collision out on the circuit. That is the reason why I think they're both in the pits. So I imagine we'll see a replay of this, and yep, David Kupok is changing his front wing as well. So we'll need to see a replay of what happened between these two. And so it's Kupok actually having, despite going in the pits behind Roque, will come out in front of Roque as well. So here we are going to see what happens. So Kupok, who actually of course was running in P5 and actually made a mistake coming through Maggots and Beckett, and then went wide on to the curb and lost his wing. And then Roque, who is closing up to the back of Laura Chung. And oh, look at that, and Chung just managing to avoid the debris there, and unfortunately Roque had nowhere to go. So a lucky escape there for Laura Chung. She managed to get away with it, but Roque didn't. Meanwhile, the two Red Bulls are battling once again for second place. Oh, there's contact, and Gamma is around Carr, so thank you very much, and takes the place. And Gao keeps... oh, no, he doesn't. I think Gao lost second place as well, so that is a double whammy there for Red Bull. So Carr says thank you very much, and takes both positions away from Red Bull there. So now it's a Mercedes 1-2. Would you believe it? And so now Lopez might have to take a look over his shoulder, because Carr has got past, and he's seemingly quite quick here. So I thought Gao had managed to keep the position, but no, he went wide because of that contact from Franco Gamba. Meanwhile, this is the battle for the lower reaches of the points. This is Dudu Kirby battling with Gabriel Gomez, and Dudu Kirby on the inside. And does he make it stick? And yes, he passes his fellow Brazilian up into 10th place, as the Williams with Sontag behind is trying to make a move as well. And oh, there's contact, and Gomez goes very wide there. Sontag isn't able to get past, and he's got Martinez, who's closed back up actually to these two as well, so showing how slow they are. Meanwhile, this is George Roque trying to gain more positions back up the order. He goes back past David Kupok, and oh, there's the Haas that's gone wide as well. Oh, there's contact! Oh my word, there is contact, and the Haas has gone off and just about managed to avoid the ball. That was Daniel Fraser, and he goes to the pitch with a broken wing, but that could have gone so wrong. And wow, I mean, Roque makes contact there with the side of Daniel Fraser, who is battling Jamie Griffiths. And of course, Roque tried to take the opportunity, he was on the inside and no route to go. And it's lucky, I suppose, that Roque didn't get even more damage. But unfortunately for Roque, actually, Kupok got back past him again, having just overtaken him. So not what Roque would have wanted, and particularly not what Daniel Fraser would have wanted to have had to pit. With a Pink Panther steaming up the inside of him there. So meanwhile, Kupok trying desperately to go past Griffiths on the inside, and he does so as Griffiths goes a little bit wide, coming through Luffield. Now coming down the old pit straight. So Roque will now try and get past Griffiths as soon as possible if he wants to then get back past David Kupok again, which he of course already did. And Roque now going to make a move on the inside. Has he got enough here? The answer is no. So he has to stay behind him again. And so in the slipstream of the Williams, and is he going to go to the inside here? Nope, not going to do it through Maggots and Beckett's. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a car going side by side into Maggots and Beckett's before. And now they're coming on to the back straight, and we'll see if Roque can make the move coming into Stowe. And now Roque in the slipstream of Griffiths. He's going to try and go around the outside, which I don't think is really going to work. Which it doesn't, of course, unless Roque gets a good exit off the corner. And oh yes, he will, or he gets a much better exit than Griffiths, but I don't think it's going to be quite enough. And oh, they make a little bit of contact there, and Roque just about keeps the car from going into a spin. That could have gone badly wrong, but Roque's still unable to get past Griffiths, as now we're on to the next lap, and he still now needs to make this opportunity count, because Kupok is getting away. Roque now on the inside. This is going to be the move, surely, and the answer is yes. It is, and he makes it on the inside of the Welshman. So a good job there by Jamie Griffiths to make it to hold up Roque for that long as well, I suppose, considering the fact the Racing Point is definitely a quicker car. But Roque was always going to get past in the end, and there was another car in the pits as well. I think it was Felix Sontag I saw that was in the pits, so I don't know if that was scheduled or not. I mean, it could have been. But meanwhile, Frank Gao is still yet again battling with his teammate Milos Gal. This is the battle for third now, because Carr has left them for dust, and so have, of course, the two Mercedes, who are so far in front at this moment in time. And now Gam are going to try and make a move on the inside of Gal, coming in towards Stowe. And is he going to be able to do it? The answer is no. As he does it around the outside, maybe he could get a better run off the corner. No, he's way too far behind. As now they come into Vale and Club. So coming into Vale and then around the other right, which is Club. And so as we look at David Kupok trying to gain back up the other, trying to get past Gabriel Gomez. This is for P11. Roke is not that far behind, and if these two battle for a bit, then Roke could catch up. So as they come through Maggots and Beckett's and coming on to the back straight known as the Hangar Straight. Of course, this circuit, like many in the UK, built on an old airfield. And so Kupok going to try and go around the outside of Gomez. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Will he have a go? He might still have a go, you know. And he's not going to be able to do it there, but I think he's going to get a much better exit off the corner. He's going to go around the outside and take the position of Gabriel Gomez. Good move there by Kupok, just as Roke was getting onto the back of them. So now they'll have to hope that Gomez does him a favour and holds him up. Meanwhile, Lopez out front again is about 7.2 seconds, just maintaining the gap out front. And here's Roke already on the back of Gomez, and he can't quite make the move into the first corner there, so he's going to have to wait to make that move. Coming into Abbey. Now coming into the loop section of the track. So they've gone through Village, now coming into the loop bit, and then the next left-hander is called Aintree, then on to the Wellington Straight, and this I imagine for Roke will be an easy move past Gomez. He's going to get the slipstream, jig to the inside past Brazilian, and yep, that's the move for P12. So now he will once again go after David Kupok in front of him, and so as looking at the two Red Bulls once again, still battling really hard for third place. The team letting them have a go at each other, and well, what could possibly go wrong, you could say? Well, yeah, maybe a lot of things, but so far they've kept it clean. But of course Carr, the two Mercedes are going to be battling up front, it looks like, for the win, and the two Red Bulls are going to be battling for the last spot on the podium. So we're 15 laps in, we haven't seen any pit stops yet, but Gamba will be pitting fairly soon. Probably in 2 or 3 more laps. And as you speak of the devil, Chris Chatfield has now come in for a pit stop, so it's quite early. So this, I don't know if this could be a 3 or not. We'll see how much fuel they put in. And oh yeah, this could be a 3. Although I mean, again, there's not really that many laps, so I think a 3 stop here would be a bit meaningless. Meanwhile, Joseph Willers has received a penalty, a 5 place grid penalty to be exact, for causing the incident with car number 23, that being Jake Galloway. So I was expecting Willers to get a punishment, and that is the punishment that he has received. Meanwhile, we're looking now at Armar Carr in second place. We're still looking at the two Rebels once again battling hard. Frank Gamma trying desperately, yet again, coming through Maggots and Beckett's to make the move stick on his teammate, but so far it ain't working. And so we're looking now at Lopez, who is still chilling up front. Carr again is down to about 7.2, but the gap's not coming rapidly down. But it looks like maybe Carr has slightly more pace than Lopez, but again, I don't think Lopez has been pushing really too hard, considering the fact that he's been leading every lap so far and has had it pretty easy ever since the start. And I wonder if the gap's going to come down again now. No, it stays about the same, stays about 7.2. But as I said, Lopez will be pitting soonish. Gal will be pitting, well, not soonish. And oh no, and Dudu Kirby has got a mechanical failure. His engine is smoking, and Dudu Kirby was having a very encouraging race, was running in the top 10 and was looking good to possibly get some points, is now unfortunately going to be getting nothing from this race. And to be honest, you really have to feel for the guy, as there's the wheel going back onto the track. Hopefully it doesn't go too far onto the racing line, but again, luck just doesn't seem to shine on the Haas team. For Dudu Kirby especially, he was doing so well, running in 8th position and was doing a pretty good job, and unfortunately the engine has just let go on him. Probably, yeah, and there it goes, just coming through Maggots and Beckett, and then it just suddenly goes, and that is Kirby's race done and dusted, unfortunately, on lap 16. And he will be absolutely devastated that that has happened to him. And I think probably people will root for him, really, now that we know he's retiring. Meanwhile, this is George Rogan and David Kupok battling once again. This is for 8th position. And I mean, Kubok was the one who unfortunately got himself into the situation. He was running in a solid top 5, then made that mistake coming through Maggots and Beckett's, and now he's he's back in the points, but now he's got Roke behind him, and Roke really seems to be quicker than him, and Roke really trying on the inside here to get past Kubok, and has he done it? And the answer is yes. That's a great move there from George Roke coming down the Wellington straight. Kubok didn't make it easy for him, but Roke got it done nonetheless, so good job there by the Racing Point driver. Meanwhile, the incident between Roberto Gamma and Evan Berg concluded, no surprise I would say, to be a racing incident. And of course we're now looking at the Red Bull of Franco Gamma, who comes into the pits for his first lap of the race, going to try and do the undercut on Miguel Gascon. He's going quite long in this stint, so it looks like it will definitely be a 2-stop for him. So Gamma now comes out of the pits, fairly quick stop as well, 6.3. So it's again the pit lane here is relatively short. It's not that long, so it's not a huge disadvantage when you pit at the circuit. As the Gamma comes out in the lower reach of the top 10, looks like in 6th position ahead of the Racing Point of Moitian. And we're looking now at, of course, Amakar, who is closing the gap a little bit to Lopez. It's down to 6.8, so he's narrowly getting the gap down, but I don't think Lopez needs to worry too much yet, really, unless he really starts dropping off the pace. And oh, hang on, speaking of the devil, and Lopez makes a huge error coming through Magnus and Beckett's there, and right in front of Daniel Fraser, and wow, that was a commentator's curse right there. Just as I was saying that Lopez was strolling easy up front and didn't need to worry, he makes that mistake there, and oof, I mean, he's very lucky he didn't spin the car, and also he's very lucky that the Haas behind him of Fraser didn't collect him, because if he had, then well, I suppose Lopez could have got damage, and he could have even lost a wheel, and then that would have been his race over. And this is the onboard from Fraser's point of view, coming through Magnus Vixen, seeing the Mercedes of Lopez losing it in front of him, and again he has to slow down to avoid a collision. So now Lopez does come into the pits, so the tyres at that point I think had obviously completely gone, and so he now comes in for his first pit stop of the race. And so I imagine it's still going to be a 2-stop. And Felix Sontag has got a mechanical failure, so unfortunately for Williams, the new livery has not helped them in this race so far. So we're looking now at Lopez coming out of the pits, and 7-second stop, not particularly quick, I guess, as car lapping there Daniel Fraser. But Felix Sontag, can he get back to the pits is the big question. I mean, he's still got a lot of the lap still to go. He's got about half the circuit still to do. So, I mean, if only the pits were right here on the old pit straight, but unfortunately they aren't, so he's not going to be able to pit there. So can Sontag get it back in time? Well, I mean, even if he can, I think any chance of points now have gone out of the window. And so the moment De Rossi running in 3rd position right now, the Ferrari there is going to be pitting. That was, I think that was Laura Chung, I believe. That was pitting in. Yeah, it would be Laura Chung, because of course Roberto Gamma is out of the race, so of course it would be. So as we're looking now at the AlphaTauri here of Chris Chatfield with his right behind his teammate David Kupok. This is a battle for 9th position between the two ATs, and obviously Chatfield being the quicker driver, of course, because he's just pitted on fresher tyres, so he'll hope that David Kupok just kind of lets him through and doesn't really put up much of a fight, as we see De Rossa coming through in the McLaren right now, coming into the pits on this lap. So we'll see. I mean, De Rossa's done a pretty good job this race. I mean, he generally always does. Over this season he's done very well, and oh dear, well, Sontag has managed to make it back into the pits, which is great news. The bad news is the team were not expecting it, so he's now having to wait a long time before they can actually fix the problem. So again, Sontag is not going to get any points today, which is of course very sad. And yeah, that is that. So De Rossa now comes in to the pits, and so there we go. We'll change all 4 tyres. Sontag does rejoin eventually, but no thanks to, of course, the team for delaying him, really. But as we're looking at De Rossa now in the pits, and of course Laura Chung in the pits as well, but she's not had I mean, she had a great start, of course, but after that it's just all it's kind of gone back to reality, up into 2nd position, but everyone just started passing her because unfortunately her car is not the quickest. And so we're looking at Federi at the moment, 14th, battling there with Amelia Wilson there, coming through Baggett's and Beckett's. So Carr at the moment leading ahead of Gal by 8.4 seconds. Lopez about 8 seconds behind them as well. Gamber in fourth, sorry. De Rossa 5th. Moichin 6th, Roke 7th, and Chung just comes to the pits behind them as well. As the Alfa Romeo looking to get past Federi, looking to get past Wilson here. It's not happening at the moment. Getting a little bit close as they come through the last section of the track. Gal at the moment running in second, doesn't particularly have a lot of pace. I mean, probably because he's got a lot of fuel in his car, which probably explains it. So I don't know whether that will be for a one-stop or not. We will find out, I think, soon enough. And Carr at the moment leading, but he'll be pitting in a couple of laps or so. And as we look on board with the Red Bull driver, gap 8.3 seconds. Roke at the moment running in P7, Chung behind, but I wonder if Chung will be able to get back past Roke pretty quickly. Well, he'll need to. She will need to do that. Meanwhile, Federi battling once again with Wilson, but he's pitting this lap. Oh, and Federi goes into the back of Wilson there and spins right in front of the other manor there of Rosetta Martinez, but Federi rejoins, but unfortunately not what he needed to have that collision just before he pits, as Lopez showing his pace up front, setting a fastest lap of a 1:27.0, not quite beating the lap record, which is by him as well, of course, so 1:26.9. Meanwhile, the two AlphaTauris battling, as this is Chatfield going past David Kupok, and Kupok, who is going to be going long on the stint before he pits and goes to the end of the race. Meanwhile, Armour Car out front is now going to be going into the pits on this lap. So we're going to find out. I mean, of course, come up behind Lopez, but we'll see if Carr is able to close up on Lopez. But at the moment, Lopez has the pace, seeing by all the fast laps he's been doing. But we'll see if Carr can be quicker than Lopez, and that will be crucial. They'll both have one more stop to make of this race as well. So Carr will be coming in, so probably putting maybe just under 20 laps in. As meanwhile, the two Manners once again battling as Wilson then goes into the pits, and now Carr is set to come into the pits himself on this lap. And here we go. He is in, and he'll cart back in third position. Although it might actually it will be fourth. Actually it will be fourth position because he's going to be behind Franco Gamba, so P4 it will be. So Carr changes all 4 tyres. Doesn't actually put a lot of fuel in, which is interesting. I mean, he'll still be going to the end, but doesn't put a lot of fuel in, which is interesting. Meanwhile, Lopez now right behind Gal in the Red Bull here. This is the battle for second place. Lopez trying to make a move on the inside here. Can't do it, so they'll have to wait until the Wellington Straight to make the move, as Wilson is out of the pits. And so, of course, is Armour Car. As there's Franco Gamba. So does Carr actually come out ahead of Gamba? This could be very close. And the answer is no. Gamba is in front. So actually, it was about 20 seconds. It was the gap. So it was a lot closer than I thought it would be. I thought Carr would be behind Gamba, but it turns out not. Meanwhile, Lopez trying to get past Gal for the lead of this race. And I suppose the fortunate thing for for Lopez, of course, is that Carr is behind Franco Gamba, so I'll have to hope that Franco Gamba does him a favour. But Lopez right now does not want to really be stuck behind Gal. Is he close enough to make a move? Coming here into Copson, the answer is no. So he has to wait until after Maggots and Beckett's to make the move. And he tries to go around the outside there. It's not going to work, so he's got to wait. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum, but he's still going to be sticking in the slipstream because he's on fresh tyres. So as they're coming up the straight now, he's in the slipstream, and this is going to be a crucial move. Although he's not quite as close as I thought he would be, but now he's surely going to make a move on the inside. Is Franco Lopez? He's on the inside of Gal, and surely this is going to be the move for the lead. And yes, Lopez does make it past Miguel Gal for the lead of this race, and that's important. As meanwhile, Carr battling with Gamba, and he goes around the outside of Gamba at Stowe. What a move that is by Armour Car, and he makes it around the outside of Gamba. So that is crucial for Lopez, the move he just made, but also for Carr, very crucial the move that he just made as well. Gamba really thought he'd probably had him covered. Didn't think that Carr would have the momentum to carry it on around the outside, but he did, and he's made the move. So wow, now we'll see if I don't know how much longer Gal's going around on the circuit. I don't think he's going to be going on for too much longer. before he pits. Meanwhile, George Roke and also Chris Chatfield are in the pits as well for, I believe, their first, well, no, not their first stop, their second stops of the race. Of course, Chatfield may have won early on, and we'll see if he goes to the end, although he might not, actually. I don't know if Chatfield will go to the end or not. Meanwhile, Federi once again battling with the Manners on the inside, or at least attempting to have a go on Amelia Wilson, but it doesn't work. And Carr, again, only 2 seconds behind Gal, so again, the gap, I think, is definitely coming down. I don't think Lopez is particularly quick right now. And again, Carr will be, even if he gets held up by Gal by a lap, I think it looks like he probably might close on him there. No, actually, speaking of the devil, here is Carr. He's already caught up to Gal. He's right behind here. And, wow, almost made a move, but now we're coming on to the Wellington Straight. And I think Carr's just going to breeze past Gal. Well, he's going to try it around the outside, try and doing it the hard way. But he's going to be so much quicker, so he's not going to be able to make it there. But will he get the momentum off the corner? And oh, never mind. Gal goes to the pits, so Carr is now past Nicholas Gal. And now we'll see, crucially, if Carr is able to close up to Lopez there. As all Federi going just about holding on to the position there from Daniel Fraser. And it's actually he made the move past Daniel Fraser. I think Fraser might have actually been overtaken by 2 cars here. So Fraser very slow on the straight. The Manor there going around the outside, it looks like, and then Federi went on the inside. Oh, look at that! And Fraser got robbed of his money, his wallet, money, and savings there. As Nicholas Gal is now in the pits for finally his first pit stop of the race, and he will be going to the end. So he will be doing the 1 stop in this race, which I think is an interesting strategy to do. So we'll see how that works out for him. And so we're looking now. So it looks like he'll come out in 5th place with Gal, so he'll come out in a comfortable top 5 at least. Carter Lopez, the gap, I couldn't quite see what gap is there. I think it's coming down, I think, slightly, about 7 seconds, but Carr's got a little bit of traffic to contend with at the moment. He's got the Williams in front of him of, this is, I think, Felix Sontag, which he goes past the Williams right there. So, was pretty simple. Gamma's still sticking not too far behind. Meanwhile, Federi still he almost seems like he's been battling the Manners this whole race. Meanwhile, the 2 Racing Points are battling each other. This is Roke, who's right behind his teammate Moitian, and they're both on similar fuel, so this is a legitimate battle for position here. And so as you look on board with Roke, he's in the slipstream of his teammate coming onto the straight here. He looks pretty close, so I think he'll try and make a move. And he's going to try and go to the inside. Does Roke? Yes, he does. Moitian does defend a little bit, but I think Roke's going to make it on the inside, which he does. He's now past him, and now he's going to be battling his fellow driver, David Kupok, who he's been battling with this whole race. So this is a battle, although Roke is a little bit of a bad run coming out of the corner there. So Moitian's still sticking there, but Roke not able to make the move coming into Copse. And so as they're coming through, 2 Maggots and Beckett's here. Roke trying to make it on the inside of Kupok. He's not going to be able to do it, and Moitian sneaks back past him straight away there. So Roke will not like the way that has just happened. And now Moitian will have a go at David Kupok, who doesn't seem to be particularly fast at this moment in time, as Roke's now right behind Moitian, going to try and make a move, but Moitian's in the slipstream of Kupok, who will try and make a move on him as well. So Moitian now on the inside of Kupok, and is he going to make it stick? And the answer is yes. So he gets past David Kupok there, so 1 Racing Point has got past. Roke now going to try and go around the outside of Kupok here. Nope. Kupok closes off that gap, so that's not going to happen. And now we're on to the next lap, and surely this is going to be the move for Roke. He's going to make it on the inside. Kupok just doesn't really have any defence to Roke, or the 2 Racing Points anyway, and Roke now finally does make it past Kupok up into 8th position. So Kupok himself, who's going to be pitting in a few laps' time. So a good move there by both Racing Points. Meanwhile, we're looking at Franco Lopez, who is at the moment clear up front, although Carr has definitely been closing the gap. I mean, the gap was only, what, I think, was that 3 seconds? Well, 3.6. So Carr has slowly but surely been closing the gap as all. We've got a battle here as oh, look at that, Federi sneaks past the Williams there of Griffiths, who had just been lapped by the Red Bull. So Griffiths, unfortunately, yeah, that wasn't what Griffiths would have wanted at all there. So now we're looking at your P2 Armor Carr, who's going to be pitting this lap. So he looks like he might even try the undercut on Franco Lopez. I mean, the gap actually is only 2 seconds. I mean, that is Lopez, as you can see, just in front right there. as we've got a yellow flag out on the circuit somewhere, and it's Gabriel Gomez who is out of the race. I don't know if anyone else is involved, but he's missing both his front wheels, and well, his wing is still intact, but nonetheless, you can't drive a car which doesn't have any front wheels. And Jamie Griffiths is in the pits. I don't know if he had anything to do with it or not. I imagine we're going to find out very soon what happened there. And it was a crash. So let's see. So Gomez coming through the corner there, and it was Jamie Griffiths. And oh, it looked like that Griffiths. Yeah, it was. Oh yeah, that was very unfortunate. So it looks like Griffiths was coming into the pits, and Gomez was in the middle of making a move on Griffiths, and unfortunately Griffiths went into the side of Gabriel Gomez there, and actually the Ferrari lead gets caught up in that. But I don't know what the stewards are going to say about that. I mean, it's one of those that I said Griffiths was coming. Oh wow! Oh, looking at that slow motion replay, Laura Chung almost getting taken out by the Alfa Romeo there. That could have gone badly wrong, but yeah. I mean, I think it's just one of those things. I mean, Griffiths trying to pit, nothing you can really do by that whole pit lane entry thing. But nonetheless, Amakar is into the pits for his final pit stop of the race. Can he undercut Franco Lopez, the race leader? Is the big question. He's been just ever since he's been closing that gap throughout the whole race, and now this is his chance. He certainly seems to be the quicker driver, and I mean, I suppose it wouldn't have been that close, of course, if Lopez hadn't made that mistake, of course, that he made earlier in the race. I mean, if Carl manages to win this race, that mistake by Lopez is going to cost him. It has cost him the race if it happens. Of course, Lopez could suddenly, when he pits, have monumental pace. But the moment actually, De Rossi in P4 right now ahead of Miklas Gau. I don't know if that's legitimate for position. It might be actually. I don't know actually. I don't know about that, but I think that could be legitimate. But anyway, Carr pits, and now he's going to absolutely go for it out front. Yeah, the gap to De Rossi only 3 seconds, but that will treble in 2 laps really with the pace that Carr will have. Radomojin is in the pits for Racing Point as well for his final stop of the race. So as we look through the rest of the order, and yeah, De Rossi looks to be in legitimate P4, so somehow he's actually managed to, I think, jump. Well, it's obviously managed to jump Gal, of course. Come to think of it, because Gal's on the 1 stop, but De Rossi looks to be on once again for another solid result. He'll of course have to pit in a few laps, but he looks to be set for a top 5 finish. So the gap Lopez to Franco Gamba at the moment is 13 seconds, and Carr is only 21 seconds behind. I mean, Gamba was 19 seconds, and that was just enough for him to get in front. So this is very, very close, but Carr's going to be pretty quick. So if Lopez doesn't pit now, or in the next lap or two, then Carr is going to jump him surely. So that now we could have a really interesting end to the race. So the gap, obviously, Carr to De Rossi already going up well over 4 seconds now. And Lopez is not pitting for a few laps either, so if Carr keeps up this pace, I think Carr is going to lead this race once Lopez pits. Meanwhile, we're looking at this is a battle for P8. Sorry, this is between Chris Chatfield and George Roque, as Roque trying to make a way on the inside. They're coming through Mexican Pegasus, but we all know that's just not going to happen. You don't make moves there. And sorry, it was Radomojin, excuse me, that was there, because Roque's already passed these two actually, so my apologies, as Mojin is going to try and go around the outside of Chatfield, coming down the hangar straight. It's not going to work. Oh, hang on. Is he going to do it here? This could be tight, and yes, Mojin is going to do it. What a great move to get past Chris Chatfield there. Good job by the Hungarian, and so he's made it through. So the 2 Racing Points have managed to do good overtakes on the AlphaTauris. They've kind of mugged the AlphaTauris today. But as we're looking at Carr, the gap 5 seconds. So that's about so it's 14 to Gamba, 5 to Carr. So that's 19 seconds. So yeah, Lopez is going to come out second in the pits when he does, because Carr is just insanely quick at the moment. So again, Lopez needs to pit now because Carr is going to. And now actually, Franco Gamba is going into the pit, so Carr will have a totally free track ahead of him once Gamba goes in. So yeah, this is actually it's going in the favour of Armour car here, it looks to be going in the favour of him. And so as we're looking now at Franco Lopez on the straight, the gap is 19.4, and as we saw with the gap between Franco Gamba and Carr earlier on in the race, that wasn't enough. So this is just fascinating, as we're looking at Carr at the moment on this lap is doing a personal best in the first sector, so he's still pumping in those lap times. And as we see George Rook in the pits for his final stop of the race for Racing Point. And so Carl coming through Copse, heading up towards Baggett's and Beckett's. Gap's now almost is now 19 seconds exactly. It's going to be under 19. So Lopez, when he pits, will definitely be behind Armour Car at this moment in time, unless Lopez can really pull it out the bag for the rest of this stint. Actually, the pit call is now, so as Franco Gamba is in the pit, so Lopez is pitting next lap, so this is going to be very, very close. But I think Carr is going to come out in front as we come across the line. What is the gap going to be between the two? And yep, Carr will be in front comfortably. It's down below 18. It's 17.7. So wow, Carr is absolutely on fire at the moment, like your favourite musician. So Lopez will have to overtake Carr on the circuit if he wants to have any chance of winning this race. So it looks like we will have another different winner here at Silverstone, as Lopez, of course, will be pitting this lap. But Carr, again, ever since just during this race, he's just edged closer to him. And again, it was helped significantly by, of course, that mistake that Franco Lopez made earlier on the race when he was leading comfortably. And at this moment in time, if Lopez, again, as I said, if Lopez doesn't win this race, that mistake could come and haunt him. So he's coming through Maggots and Beckett's now, and he's going to be coming into the pits. So this is going to be very interesting to see how quick this stop will be for Mercedes. But we all know, and I've said it already, Carl will come out ahead, because look at that gap now, 17.4 seconds. So that's definitely not enough for Lopez. I mean, if he pitted a couple laps early, he would have had a chance and could have stayed ahead of Carr, but it's not happening now. So Lopez comes into the pits, and so the big question is, will Lopez be able to close the gap back to Carr before the end of the race? So as we look at Lopez coming into the pits, here we go, changes all four tyres, we'll go to the end, of course, and yeah, so how quick the stop will be. It's a pretty quick stop from Mercedes, actually. 5.4 seconds, that definitely must be one of the quickest stops of the day, but I don't think that's going to matter. Carl will still be out in front, but it could make a difference for this battle towards the end of this race. So I expect to see Carr going past any minute now. And yep, there we go, he's just come across the line. So Carr now officially does lead the Grand Prix, and look at the gap he's going to have, actually quite a bit of a gap, a bit more than I thought. So Lopez really is going to have to get his fade on if he wants to win this race. So he comes out in second, does Lopez, so he really needs to get the hammer down. Hammer time it needs to be, as Laura Chung comes in for her final stop of the race as well. You just saw the graphic on the screen. But there's 11 laps to go. The gap to Carr is 5. I mean, that's doable. I mean, there's only 11 laps to go, so the gap is easily doable. Yeah, so meanwhile Roke is actually up into 7th. He's got past Roland Moyton on the circuit, so Chung is in 6th, but I don't know if she'll come out ahead of them or not. I mean, we're looking at Carr, who's leading this race, and the gap has come down. It's down to just 3 seconds. So Lopez is getting the gap back down to his teammate, as we're looking at the two AlphaTauris battling once again. This is Chatfield in 10th, battling with David Kupok. But of course, crucially, I mean, both the two Mercedes are going to have traffic to deal with. They'll have Chatfield to deal with. Meanwhile, the two Red Bulls still once again battling for 3rd place. As Gamba makes a mistake. Oh, Gamba goes off. Gamba's off. He makes a mistake and goes off. Does he hit the wall? The answer is no, he doesn't. But he goes off the circuit there in that battle for 3rd, and so Gamba now has that in the bag. And Gamba rejoins the circuit. Unfortunately, no damage done, and he'll keep P4 because De Rossa was way behind. But that, I think, may have just ended the battle for P3 right there. So Gamba makes a mistake, goes wide, and then goes on to AstroTurf, and then on to the gravel, but fortunately doesn't damage the car. But still, that is, Gal surely has P3 secured now. So Gamba rejoins the circuit, so he'll be down in P4, but this is the final lap of the race, and actually surprisingly enough, Lopez has not closed the gap as much as I thought. It's down to 2 seconds, but I think traffic may have played an important role here, because Lopez just simply hasn't been able to close the gap. I mean, it's come down a bit now, it's just 2 seconds, but Lopez, I think, he had plenty of laps. He only had about 11 laps, and the gap was only 4.5 seconds, so it's not like it was huge. So Lopez again has closed it, but it's just not enough. So that mistake earlier on in the race from Lopez has given Carl the race win. Well, I say it's given it. He's still something could still happen before the end of this race, because Carl's coming up to lap driver. He's coming up to the Williams in front of him here. I don't know if he'll bother lapping him or not. He just needs to get to the end as they come to Magnussen Beckers. The gap now down a bit more, down to 1.7. As Carl coming up to the Williams, coming through Magnussen Beckett. He's now right behind here. Just needs to get through these last couple of corners, and he'll be finding now laps the Williams. So that is going to be race over, and Armor Car is going to come round the final couple of corners. And oh, amazingly, Gamba's caught up to Gunn and passed him again. Wow, I did not expect that. But in the meantime, Armor Car wins the British Grand Prix in front of his home fans. The crowd goes wild, and so he narrowly beats Franco Lopez to the race win. And once again, that mistake from Lopez has cost him race victory today. But amazingly, actually, Gamba managed to catch back up to Gal and take P3 away from him, of course, forgetting that Gal was on the 1 stop, so he did a pretty good job almost to get P3, but wasn't able to hold off Franco Gamba. So we'll see this overtake again on the last lap. Gal just had nothing left, and Gamba just made the move on the inside for P3, so he narrowly managed to get it away from his teammate. They're unlucky for Gal. I thought he still had enough of a gap, but of course, forgetting that he was on the 1 stop, he just didn't have the grip. So Gal comes across the line in P4, Chatfield P10. De Rosa, yet again, another solid race for McLaren, comes across the line in P5. Laura Chung, great start, tailed off and finished in a very, very lonely P6, but she kept it out of trouble though at least, so she'll be pretty happy to get a decent points finish on the board. So she comes around the last couple of corners, coming through Club, and she'll come across the line and take 6th position. So I mean, again, it could have been worse, but it could have been better, you could say. Rosetta Martinez just missing out on points for Mana, set to come across the line in P11, and George Oak 7th, despite of course that damage with QPOC. I think he'll be pretty satisfied with that. That was about the best that he was going to be able to get out of this one. Millie Wilson 30, Ronan Moichin gets P8, so the racing points a bit lower down than probably you would normally expect, but still a double points finish for them nonetheless. So, and that is race over. So we'll take a look, of course, at the full race results, drivers, and the constructors standings. So here were the full race results. Armor Car winning, of course, ahead of Lopez in 2nd, Franco Gamba 3rd, Nicholas Gal 4th, De Rosa 5th, Laura Chung 6th, George Oak 7th, Roland Morgan 8th, David Cupok 9th, and Chris Chatfield 10th, completing the rest of the points, with Cupok, Chatfield, and Martinez, who was 11th, a lap down. Armor Car setting the fastest lap of the race, a 1:26.588. The rest of the order is as follows: Andrea Federi 12th, Amelia Wilson 30th, both a lap down, with Jamie Griffiths, Felix Sontag, and Daniel Fraser all finishing 2 laps down, with Gabriel Gomez, Dudu Kirby, Evan Byrne, Roberta Gamma, Jake Galloway, and Joseph Willers all retiring from this race. So now we'll take a look at the Drivers' Championship. So Lopez, of course, still leads, but Carr does negate that gap a little bit. Migdas Gal in 3rd, a little bit away, not too far away from Carr though still. George consolidating 4th, Frank again moving above Jake Galloway into 5th. Other movements include Kiros moving up to 8th ahead of Evan Byrne with his top 5, so I'll be pretty happy with that. With the rest of the order, not much movement here. I suppose Martin is moving, however, above teammate Amelia Wilson with that 11th place finish. But you can see Roberta Gamma and Chris Chatfield, they're both actually on 27 points. Willows still down there a little bit on 24, with Federi and Gomez 19 and 10 points respectively. He's on with 9 points. In the constructors, meanwhile, Mercedes again strolling it at the front. I don't see anybody catching them, that's for sure. Red Bull in 2nd, Racing Point 3rd, Renault 4th, McLaren in 5th, Ferrari in 6th, AlphaTauri 7th, Alfa Romeo 8th, Williams 9th, Manor 10th, and Haas 11th. So they're all quite evenly spaced out, really, in the constructor standings at this moment in time. And the driver day was a joint vote between Carr and De Rosa, so congratulations to them both for getting an equal amount of votes. And so there we go. That was the British Grand Prix, and a little bit of news is that the Russian Grand Prix has been removed from this season and next season's OC calendar, at the very least due to the ongoing situation between Russia and Ukraine. My best wishes and prayers to all the people in Ukraine at the moment with what's going on, and a replacement will be announced in due course. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you for the next round, the Hungarian Grand Prix at the Hungaroring. Don't forget to give this video a like, check out our links in the description, check out our Twitter, check out our Discord, check out our wiki pages. That's all, everybody, and we'll see you for the next round in Hungary. Goodbye.